I am pleased to welcome Mike Battaglia, the Chief Revenue Officer of Blink Energy, that ticker BLNK. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Appreciate you having me.
All right, Mike, I want to dive into second quarter financial results that were recently reported by Blink. You guys reported triple digit growth for overall revenue, product revenue, services revenue, and other revenue. Walk viewers through some of the highlights from the second quarter and that triple digit growth.
Yeah. So, first of all, we recorded about just under $33 million worth of revenue in the second quarter. That represented 186% growth year over year. Significantly, we raised our guidance for full year to $110 to $120 million. So, roughly speaking, we're on track to double the size of the business again this year, as we've done in the last couple of years. But our growth, as you indicated, Chris, was broad-based. It was across every category. We saw strength, and we feel pretty confident that we're going to continue to see that momentum build. One of the things that was really important for us in the second quarter, that was maybe one of the most important stats, is that we improved our gross margins from 21% in the first quarter up to 37% in the second quarter. So that really puts us in line with what we've guided to for the full year, which is that we would be at 30% gross margins for the year. So we are on track to accomplish that.
Awesome. So you mentioned guidance. Obviously, that's a key feature that investors and analysts are always looking at. So that guidance race for the full year, what goes into, that confidence given, macroeconomic concerns and everything going on in the world? What goes into the confidence to raise that guidance for the full year?
Yeah. So one of the things I often say to my team is that there is almost not another industry on the face of the earth that's growing faster than the EV charging business and electric vehicle business in general, right? So, maybe AI, maybe there's a couple others that are right up there. But what is fantastic about our business and our business model is that we are agnostic across all channels. So if there is a parking spot that a vehicle is going to be parked and it's electric and it needs to charge, Blink can be there. So when we look at our different channels, it's not coming from just one area. It's coming from government fleet with our contract with the United States Postal Service. It's coming from the automotive industry and the confidence level that the dealers have and the OEMs have put in Blink in order to help dealers build out that infrastructure coast to coast. So it's a combination of the activity we're seeing across vertical markets. It's a combination of the backlog that we have in the business and the forecast that we have, obviously, what we think we're going to do for the balance of the year. So, we bring all those things together just like a lot of other companies do, and we make a call and we think we're pretty safe.
Love that. Another key item that investors and analysts are always watching is, profitability. And Blink said that you're expecting positive adjusted EBITDA run rate by December 2024. What gets the company there, and why is it such an important milestone moving forward?
Yeah, one of my favorite questions. So when I joined Blink almost 3 years ago to the day, if I'm not mistaken, we had 63 employees and low double-digit revenue. And you fast forward to today, and again, our guidance being $110 to $120 million in 2023. We have over 600 employees now. So we've spent the last 3 years building the beast, so to speak, really taking advantage of the growth that was inherent in the market, building out the corporate infrastructure to support that growth. And so now we're in the next phase of our life cycle, right? And that is to focus on very, very hard KPIs to become a disciplined business that has expenses under control, that gets to a level of profitability, and then eventually free cash flow. So we're focused on all those things. The management team has really transitioned the strategy, the thinking, all of those things that the market would expect from a growth company to a profitable company.
So a term that we hear a lot is vertical integration. I mentioned earlier in the program the thing behind the thing, Blink charging, one of those pick and shovel plays in EV. Walk us through though how Blink is, vertically integrated within the charging infrastructure sector and why that makes the company stand out to some of your
Mhm.
competitors.
Yeah. So there is a few different ways to participate in the EV charging infrastructure market. And one way, one option is you take a piece of hardware, you take a piece of software that are separate, you put them together, and you kind of deploy them into the market and you hope they work. The problem we see with that model is that if something goes wrong somewhere along the line, where is it wrong? Who are you pointing to as a customer? Are you pointing to the software provider? Are you pointing to the hardware provider? Are you pointing to both? And then on top of that, are you then looking somewhere else for installation services, et cetera? So we believe in this environment where uptime, reliability is critically important in the market right now as we begin to grow. That being vertically integrated for Blink is the right move. And what that means is that we provide the hardware that we manufacture ourselves, we provide the network software, which we develop ourselves, and we provide full turnkey installation services for our clients. So we give them, in effect, one-stop shopping where they can hold us accountable for the quality of the implementation. And we believe that that is critically important in this market. One of the themes that we hear time and time again as we're talking to customers is that uptime, reliability are the most important things. It trumps price. It trumps kind of everything else that you could think of kind of in that deployment chain.
Love that. Another topic that's hugely discussed right now is this North American charging standard. I guess a two-part question. Were you surprised that Tesla and some of these other companies have now partnered on a charging standard, GM and Ford? And then how does Blink kind of take over and benefit from this new charging standard moving forward?
So one of the great parts about being at Blink is that we are agnostic in terms of connector type. So whether it's CCS, whether it's CHAdeMO, whether it's NACS, we can pivot extremely quickly. We're very, very flexible. We have the hardware, the software that enables us to do that. So when you ask, were we surprised? I would say that most people were surprised, right? I'd be lying if I said, hey, this thing didn't come pretty quickly, right? It came really quite quickly. But for us, we were excited about where this is going because, when you look at the market, 90% of all the kilowatt hours that will be dispensed are going through level 2 chargers, and only about 10% are going to go through DC fast charging. Now, that is from McKinsey, that's from PwC, that's from tons of independent research that's getting done. So that's not just from Blink. If you look at that, we're predominantly an L2 company today. Our DC business is growing, but we're predominantly L2. And our number one customer for our L2 chargers are Tesla drivers. They just happen to be using that adapter now. So for us, we can simply move to a combination of CCS and NACS, or eventually all NACS, however the OEMs decide to go, however the market decides to go. We can pivot quickly, but for us, we view this as a net positive, and we're excited to come out with the products that we've announced to accommodate that.
Thanks for that color, Mike. Last question here. We always like to pay attention to our readers, our viewers, and I did see a question in the chat about some M&A activity. I know you're focused on profitability moving forward, but any comment on maybe some opportunities for some consolidation in the charging infrastructure space? Is that something that Blink's looking at currently?
Yeah, so if you look at our track record over the last few years, we've acquired a number of companies. I would say that at the moment, we are focused on integrating the companies that we have acquired, which we've been doing very successfully. So making sure that we are as efficient as possible with the entities that we have under our umbrella, making sure that it's one Blink, and we talk about that consistently. This needs to be one Blink. Now, we are by nature a pretty acquisitive company. I think we will continue to be. We absolutely believe strongly that there is going to be consolidation in this market. There's just no question about it. So for us, we always have one eye on acquisition opportunities. We will continue to do that, when it makes sense and when the time is right.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks for that color once again. All right. Well, Mike Battaglia, Chief Revenue Officer, Blink Charging, that ticker again, BLNK. Mike, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. It was enjoyable.